What's going on YouTube? JT Reborn here, and welcome back to another edition to my DC comic book reviews. And in this video, we're talking about Batman Hush 2, which is Batman issue number 159. This is the second part of the Batman Hush 2 storyline, and it's written by Jeff Loeb, who wrote the original thing, and of course, art done by Jim Lee, who did, the artwork for the original Batman Hush. Now, first issue was pretty decent. There are a lot of expectations when going into Batman Hush 2. I mean, it's been, like 20 plus years since that original series came out, and it's set in the main continuity right here. And the second issue, I don't know. Like, I'm not exactly, overly, ecstatic about it. I think Jim Lee's artwork looks really good, but this feels like a comic book that doesn't realize that 20 plus years have happened since Hush. Like, it's acting like it just sort of happened. And, a lot of stuff has happened. Like, the DC universe is completely different from where it was at that point in time. We've had so many different events that have rebooted and tweet continuity 1,000 times, over and over again. Characterization feels a bit off. Things that just happened, such as Riddler being arrested, I think it was in the Zdarsky thing, is now back out here in the opens, wants to go toe-to-toe with Hush and all that too. Jason Todd's characterization feels a little bit off too. It feels like it's just fresh after coming back to life, when Jason's had a lot of stuff happen to him since the original Batman Hush came out in this thing. Why is he fighting Batman over the whole Joker thing? Haven't we already gone through a lot of this stuff before? I'm kind of curious to see how Loeb is going to write other members of the Bat family. What's he going to do with Damian in this thing? Because the whole original, this is just my theory about it, with the whole Batman Hush storyline, that was all about Batman Catwoman, about the whole Batcat thing, because Damian is a child of Bruce and Talia. I have a sneaky suspicion that he's not going to be written in the best of light. Only time will tell, but if that's the case, then I told you so. But we'll see what happens with that thing. But again, this is only the second issue. It's not anything entirely bad. It just feels a little bit off and kind of out of place in terms of current continuity. So issue is basically just Batman going to Leslie Tompkins to get her to help save the Joker's life, because if he takes her to the hospital, everyone's going to see it and the Joker's going to die. And he's doesn't want to give Hush exactly what he wants, but he's kind of is playing into his games or whatever he's trying to do, and so he's getting Leslie there to help save the Joker's life. Takes him back to the Batcave, and that's where Jason Todd comes in and starts fighting him, and it's all brutal, it's violent. Again, this is acting as if the original Hush just happened, despite all the fact that all this other stuff has taken place within the DC universe, and Jason's characterization feels like he just stepped out of coming back to life under the Red Hood sort of deal, the way he's acting with this whole Joker thing. But on the flip side, it is interesting to see Jason more so in that light, as kind of the outcast of the Bat family, a little bit against their moral code. I think that's one of the things that sets him apart from some of the others at times, being in with that conflict. And in some ways, that's what kind of makes him more interesting, because like I said, it's nice to have someone who's a little bit outside of it, going down his own little path there. Because if he's just like everyone else, if he's acting within the code of the Bat family, then he's just kind of like everyone else in some ways. So, but again, it's just kind of one of those things do you like Jason written more like this, or are you against it, given all that he's been through over the past couple of years, especially since this original storyline came out? That's up for everyone else's interpretation. But I will say it does feel a little bit off, especially considering this is in the main continuity with this thing. And then, of course, to get into her fight, Batman gets knocked out, Riddler is revealed to be there, and now he's looking swole and jacked, ready to fight. And I don't like this. I like the Riddler as more of a thinker, not so much a fighter. I feel like that's what sets him apart from other villains, is he uses his brain and high intelligence. He doesn't need to be a fighter. He doesn't need to be an expert martial artist or anything like that. That's a trap that a lot of modern stuff has happened with some of these characters. For instance, the Joker and all that, being trained by was it Zdarsky's thing where he was trained by one of the mentors, being this expert in fighting? No. Joker should not be this expert in hand-to-hand combat or anything. He's an agent of chaos. Batman should just get a hold of him and just beat the living shit out of him. Same thing with Riddler. But Riddler, they want to just kind of change these villains and just kind of make them less interesting. And because Riddler's interesting thing is using his brain to get out of situations, and hiring others to kind of get their hands here. Why is Riddler looking swole and jacked like this? And wasn't he just kind of arrested there beforehand? I don't know. It's just kind of strange. But we do get some Easter eggs of the various Bat family costumes, and Babs is in kind of her more old school looking designs there. And of course, Batman comes to the realization that Jason is working with Hush, after all this time, despite all the bad stuff Hush did. Like, why is Jason working with him? I guess we'll find out as the series progresses. So again, nothing like all that terrible or anything like that. I think Jim Lee's artwork looks really good. Again, it's Jim Lee. He's one of the best within, to ever do it at DC. I don't think it's quite on the level of the original Hush as like we've seen so far within the first 2 issues of this thing, but we're only, again, 2 issues into the storyline. I guess from what I gather, it's going to do 6 issues here, then it's going to go on a bit of a hiatus, and then it's going to jump into a mini-series as opposed to being like continuing in the main continuity, which I think is really stupid. Like, why not just have the whole like 12 issues in just this main continuity thing? Just make that just be the title for the year, instead of having a new creative come on board and then jump into this thing. Why couldn't you just finish it first and then just like, okay, it's all set, ready to go, and let's get going. So, and again, Jim Lee is a busy guy, but like when you're doing 12 issues and that, it just, I guess it'll read better, more of a trade. A lot of similar issues can happen at times too. Like, remember when Jeff Johns was writing Doomsday Clock? The constant delays, like because of his busy schedule, the constant delays in that comic book like made it hard to kind of care after a little while. Like, it's a good storyline and the whole DC universe was kind of building around it, but then just kind of felt like an afterthought by the time it was done, despite being really good and drawn remarkably well. So that's where I feel like Hush could end up being in kind of one of those things where it's like it feels significant, but then it's just going to be kind of forgotten about. But again, it's got all this hype and expectations because it is Hush 2, one of the most famous, it's a sequel to one of the most famous Batman storylines of all time. So again, 2 issues into it, not enough to completely write it off. Like I said, Jim Lee's artwork is pretty good, but there's nothing really like wowing me so far within the first 2 pages of this Hush storyline, other than like some really solid Jim Lee artwork. Because like I said, some of the characterization feels a little bit off, especially considering like what's been going on for like several years within, DC Comics as a whole. So again, that's just my opinion. What do you think of it? Post your comments down below. Be sure to like this video, share with your friends, subscribe to your channel for content, all the other fun stuff. That's going to wrap it up for this video. I've got one more I'm going to post today, and then I'm going to go ahead and catch up with some reading on some of the other DC books, and then we'll take it from there. But anyways, let me know what you thought of it in the comment section down below. Sorry I'm a few days late on this thing, but that's going to wrap it up, and I'll see you all later. As always, take care now. Bye-bye then, and yeah, all that other stuff. Bye-bye.